Today we're going to talk about things you didn't know. If you've ever seen a solar eclipse, you know how unusual and cool it is. Did you know how to make it even cooler? Just go up in the air. Alaska Airlines even made special adjustments to a flight so that passengers who flew from Anchorage to Honolulu in March of 2016 could see that.
Look at it. Oh my God. Whoa.
A solar eclipse at an altitude of more than 10,000 meters. Watch the huge shadow of the moon creep closer and closer. It's simply impossible to forget this. Billboards today won't surprise anyone, but what about the huge wave animation so realistic that it seems as if it's about to splash out of the screen and flood half of Seoul? Hell, it's like a huge aquarium with an endless storm. We don't usually associate a frozen lake with fire, but even where there's cold and ice, there's room for a few small fire performances.
Get it! Woo, guys, yeah!
It's a unique phenomenon that can only be found in a few lakes. Woo!
Oh my God.
No, it's not a stylized fountain, and not some installation, which should remind people how important it is to preserve nature. Nope. This is the most real tree that grows in Montenegro, and every time after a heavy rain, it does this. As far as I know, usually water doesn't hit right through the tree, but there is a quite scientific explanation for the phenomenon. Underground source. During heavy rains, it floods. Additional pressure pumps water through the hollow trunk of the tree and leads it out through the hole. That's it. The fountain's ready. Locals say that the tree's more than 100 years old, but it's been spitting water for only the last 20 years. Doesn't look like it's gonna stop. And while in Montenegro, a tree sometimes thinks of itself as a fountain, in the state of New York, you can stumble upon the Eternal Flame Falls. Yes, everything is exactly as you thought, a waterfall. And there's a fire that doesn't seem to go out. It just burns as if by itself, magically. Alas, there is no magic here, only natural gas, which is emitted in a small grotto at the foot of the waterfall. The gas doesn't burn by itself, it's lit by people, and occasionally the flame does go out. So the eternal flame has to be renewed. It's not that eternal, I guess. If you belong to the type of people who for some reason love scorpions and don't run away screaming at the thought of them, then you're lucky. Scorpions are quite easy to find. You just go to the desert in the middle of the night and turn on an ultraviolet lamp.
So tell me about the light you're using. So it's a UV light. It's a UV light and the scorpion fluoresces under UV light. So you can see.
Under its beam, scorpions shine a bright green light, lighting up in the dark like fireflies. Scorpions are really easy to spot this way. Probably even a small child knows how a helicopter works. It has a rotor on top that spins and lifts the machine in the air. Everything's simple. Then how do you explain this? No, there's no graphics on the video. It's just a helicopter which rises from the stadium by the power of the pilot's mind. Or is Magneto having some fun somewhere behind the scenes? Not that I'm surprised. This guy likes to move all sorts of big things. But everything is much simpler. The blade speed is the same as the frame rate on the video, and it seems that the rotor practically doesn't move. I think some of our viewers are watching this video while they're eating. If you're one of them, put aside your treats. Done? All right, now here's a fact. Sharks sometimes spit out their stomachs, then pull them back into place like spaghetti. Or almost. Most often this happens because of stress or if the shark swallows something that it can't digest. Sometimes the most effective way to cleanse the stomach from shells of turtles, bones, or bird feathers is to spit it out completely, together with the contents. And since this mechanism is conceived by nature, most often the shark pulls the stomach back in. Oh, these lights are so beautiful. Wait, these lights are a traffic jam. If you think you have a good idea of traffic jams, take a look at Highway 405. These people aren't escaping from some natural disaster. It's just Thanksgiving Eve and everybody's hurrying towards the holiday. Well, I don't know about hurrying. 12 lanes of highway are more like one big elongated parking lot. You know, I'm not afraid of flying. Airplanes are a very cool invention of mankind which have made life much easier, but even I became somewhat uncomfortable watching this video. These are planes landing at Dusseldorf Airport during the storm Frederic, when gusts of wind reached 139 kilometers an hour. I don't know what the passengers felt at that moment, and frankly, I don't really want to know. When a person has a choice to walk up the stairs or use the escalator, most people choose the second option. It's the way we are. Everybody wants to save some energy. Besides, an ordinary staircase is a rather boring thing, but not this staircase. The piano staircase, which is in Brussels, works like a real musical instrument in which each step is a key. Each step is a note. Well, can you choose an ordinary escalator instead of giant keys? Today, no one can be surprised by car tuning. You can think of anything. Among the concepts, there are transparent cars and flying cars and Batmobiles, but in the last century, everything was much more complicated. That's why when Goodyear presented the car on translucent luminous tires, it was a step to the future. The car's tires were developed using translucent synthetic rubber, and a lighting system was added to the tire design. This development was part of Goodyear's research. At the time, engineers tried to use the tires to improve visibility in bad weather. Judging by the fact that nothing like this can be found on the roads today, the idea wasn't very good. But it looks really cool. Oh, you've probably seen this photo. It can be found on the internet under a headline like, "This is how they made the video with the lion for the Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer." Perhaps one of your acquaintances has even had a chance to feel sorry for the big kitty. What sacrifices it had to make for the cinema. Okay, it's actually just a fake. In the photo, a lion named Samson is undergoing a CT scan. And of course, for this procedure, he had to be immobilized. Before that, Samson underwent a complex brain surgery and survived, so he in some way became a star too. But he has nothing to do with MGM. The lions roaring on the famous logo, and there were several lions, did it of their own free will, because they were trained. And of course, they didn't stick their heads anywhere, at least during the shooting. In the Indian state of Maharashtra, the crime rate is one of the highest in the country. But the small village of Shani Shinganapur is an exception. Here, no one has been stealing for about 4 centuries. In any case, that's what the locals claim, although Wikipedia doesn't really agree with them. Anyway, the settlement has no doors, no locks. Over 300 buildings, houses, a school, everything's open. The bank is the only local building that has a door, and that door isn't locked. It protects the bank not from thieves, but from stray dogs. About 5,000 residents believe that the deity protects them from crime, and it seems that potential thieves also hold this view. I wonder if they have interior doors. Bathroom doors? You need a little personal space, right? So if you're a pigeon and you're not a 5-year-old child wearing rubber boots, then most likely you don't like puddles. After all, water should be in specially designated places, not where you can accidentally step in it. The English company Tarmac also thought that this is some kind of nonsense, and they found a solution. As a result, the Tarmac Top Mix Permeable Pavement Solution appeared. It reminds a hard sponge and can absorb up to 4,000 liters of water in an area of just a few square meters in just 1 minute. At the same time, the pavement is strong enough that even large cars can drive on it. The only problem is cold. This pavement doesn't like it. But to be honest, who does like cold? London building Walkie Talkie has had a hard time since its opening. Not only was it called one of the ugliest skyscrapers, the building at 20 Fenchurch Street is also dangerous. Not because of the foundation, piles, or anything like that, but because of the beautiful mirror facade. And not just a mirror facade, but a mirror one and a little concave. You understand where this is going? Yeah, people just put a huge lens in the city center. The building catches and reflects the sunlight in a way that the temperature in a concentrated ray of light reaches 69.8 degrees Celsius. Not a skyscraper, but a local Death Star. Walkie Talkie melts cars, sets fire to wooden chairs, makes holes in bottles, and melts every other thing in its path, but at the same time allows you to cook food right on the sidewalks. Would you like some scrambled eggs from the pavement? If you've ever walked on a suspension bridge at least once, you know that it's not for everyone. It swings, damn it, and at the bottom there's an abyss. And it seems that all this construction is about to turn over, or it'll break right underneath you, or it'll fly away somewhere in just a little gust of wind, or it'll break right underneath you, or it'll fly away somewhere under the gusts of wind, or, well, you got it. But in China, there's something better. No, not the drawing of the key. I mean of the bridge, but the so-called floating bridge. It's not placed above a body of water, but right on the surface. For example, along a river. You can literally walk on water, or you can drive if you have a car, or if you have a fantasy. And now a serious and very sad fact. The bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is a disaster that left an incomparable mark on human history. In Hiroshima alone, 70,000 people died. Thousands more died of radiation poisoning in the days, weeks, and months that followed. The explosion was so powerful that only contours were left of some people and objects. An abandoned bicycle, a man with a staircase, a bridge railing. And here's the shadow of an old man or a man with a hat. Frankly speaking, just one glance at these pictures, suffice to say, gives me goosebumps. Hey, if you liked the video, be sure to share it with your friends. It's very important for us. And don't forget about those likes. We'll see you later.